Welcome everyone. This is our second chat. I have Kresten and Ben as guests this time. So I'm here at Lake Guatepeque, feeling kind of lonely during El Salvador harvest. So I thought I would start this series to stay in touch with people. This is Kresten from Fjord and Father Carpenter, the cafe in Berlin, and then Ben from Manhattan Coffee Roasters, right? So it just kind of randomly happened that I guess both of you are Australians that opened roasteries in Europe, right?
And we both worked at the Graves.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, you were before me.
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
did you see they just closed?
No.
Byron sent me a message saying like, he
Graves is like the cockroach of cafes. Like, I didn't think that place would ever close.
So for people who are probably not watching, because like I think I have like 2 followers right now. Like, could you put that in context? Like, you guys were both working in the same cafe and where?
No, it was successively, but I mean, Kresten probably knows more about it than I probably would, because I only did I mean, I don't know. How long did you work there?
Maybe like 9 months or something.
Yeah, I guess I worked
fired.
there for. Didn't everyone got fired on off all the time?
I don't know. Like, I didn't go in on a day that I wasn't supposed to work, but they asked me to come and work, and I said no, and then they fired me over the phone because I didn't come in. I was like, you guys legends.
Yeah. A few times where like Russ Quayle called me up and was just like, Bob has me on the phone. Can you do me a favor? And I would just be like,
Bob.
I just left there. Like, I can do it, but
Good.
you owe me.
So was that a roastery or just a cafe or?
It's like actually, it was a famous cafe as well.
Yeah.
Like, it was in, what was it? What was that book that they? No, it was actually pictured in like, what was it, like top 100 coffee shops in the world or something?
What's the name?
The Graves.
Really?
Like,
I thought that was like a nickname.
No, the Graves. Well, like the street was called the Graves. So.
Yeah, but it was De Graves Espresso, and we fondly called it Depresso. It was a nice place to work.
And so, and did you guys work at roasteries in Australia before moving to Europe?
Yeah, I worked at Proud Mary. That's the main one, I guess.
I mean, I worked for St. Alghe, but I never really did any roasting.
Yeah, me either.
Baristas
only for Europe, and I've been roasteries in Europe.
Interestingly enough, I was like, when I did some, like in the later part of my comping, I think Andy did ask me if I would want to roast the coffee, and I was like, "Fuck, no, like, I don't know what I'm doing, man. Why would I be able to make a decision on something that I'm not skilled at?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, just tell me what you want." And I'm like, "Okay, this is what I want." And he's like, "No problem." I'm like, "How easy was that?"
What did you want?
I was just nothing particular. It was really good coffee. It was Cafe Grania. So I was just like, yeah, just make it developed and easy to work with. And that's all I want. Like, nothing, very specific. But I mean, he's a really good roaster. So why would I roast?
Mm-hmm. So let's see, to kind of put it in context, I would say you two are some of the most knowledgeable coffee people I know, especially in like brewing, and I guess now like also roasting. You're both like very passionate and knowledgeable, and also very technical, I would say. And I think Europe has a lot to thank Australia and New Zealand, because a lot of the companies, well, like, to be clear, both of you guys are clients of mine, both Fjord and Manhattan. Ben's like hiding there.
No, I'm just checking my battery on my phone.
Yeah, so I would say like a lot of roasteries in Europe were founded by Australians or people from New Zealand, right? You know, and like, let's see if I get this right. So I think the reason why Australia was ahead in coffee was because Italians moved there after World War II, and they already had espresso machines, right? Because let's say like my great grandfather was the first Italian from my family to move here. They moved here in the 1880s, and unfortunately, they didn't have espresso back then. So like all the movement from Italians to the Americas happened mainly before World War I or after World War I. And so there was an espresso coming to New York or to, you know, Ellis Island or Latin America, but then most of the Italians that moved to Australia moved after World War II. So they brought espresso culture to Australia, and it kind of took off. And it seems like, you know, I've never been to Australia, so I don't know, but it seems that there's a very strong food culture. So you have these cafes that serve food and that are kind of big businesses. Is that like a pretty good description? Or?
Kresten, you probably know.
Yeah, like the
food culture, yeah.
Let's go like the majority of the like Australian coffee, if you can call it, coffee culture or whatever. It's just like I haven't read history on this, but it's just like from living pretty much everywhere on the east coast of Australia. It's like it feels very centered in Melbourne, and then it's kind of like dissipates as you head north, east, south, and west, and it feels very like into Melbourne. And it was just like a really slow progression. It wasn't a revolution, it was an evolution, and so it grew with a lot less of the kind of like, or like especially specialty coffee, a lot more instantaneous. We know everything. Stop doing that.
It was still pretty quick though. Like
compared to like Germany and England and stuff, it was not.
I mean, from when I started in coffee, where there's probably maybe like 7 shops that had some expertise.
Yeah.
In like 2006 or 7, but even before that, I knew guys working for Neziano at like in 2003 and 4, like people's brothers and stuff would be working there, but that was kind of before, you know, they started even doing like single country lots. And then so like between that point in like 2004-5, and you go to where it, like, I mean, I guess you, like, I don't know if you would agree, but like I would say like 13-14 was probably where like there was
like 2013, 2014.
Yeah, like that was when there was like
I was over here.
Yeah, I mean like 12 also, like I mean there was specialty coffee everywhere by then.
Yeah, but I mean like the slow progression in that in 2003, 2004, 2005, 6, 7, blah, blah, like all of the kind of like early 2000s, there was a substantial amount of cafes in Melbourne that had like single origin in there'd be multiple customers could come in, the customer could put like fucking 7 sugars into their like Australian single origin from like the Byron Hills or whatever. You know what I mean? And there wasn't so much like judgment because of this speed of like second wave, not very tasty at all coffee into hyper specialty light roast, tastes like Nutri-Grain. You can't have sugar or milk in the same room. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, I do
remember that.
Yeah.
Working with Costa Rica and Tarrazu that would curdle milk, like just straight milk. What do you do then?
So what made you?
I've been away from Australia for too long to like kind of comment really on Australia. Like I left to move over here in 2013.
What
So, like,
what
I made a way
motivated
for it.
you? What motivated you to get away, like to move to Europe?
Me,
Yeah.
the market said that it was a good idea to open an Australian-style specialty coffee shop in a bunch of European cities. So I picked one and did it.
It's true.
Okay.
That's
What-
very true.
Like you researched that somehow, or what happened?
Yeah, with the interweb.
Really?
Yeah.
You're like,
See what people are doing, what they're hungry for, you know.
Yeah.
mhm.
That was the right time.
Yeah.
Now it's
I guess like
a bit more challenging, I think.
For people that don't know, Australian style cafe would involve food service.
Basically just like a restaurant that serves breakfast and lunch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So kind
And
of like
poached eggs with
brunchy-
everything.
I'm just
brunchy
actively
coffee.
avoiding the word brunch.
Yeah.
Brunch style.
and then Ben.
Yeah, exactly. I know you said something on your interior. Exactly.
Yeah.
Ben, did you move to Europe for love?
Yeah. My girlfriend's Dutch. And when I got here, I wasn't actually really sure what I wanted to do. Probably something with coffee. And yeah, I mean, like I remember the first thing we did when I got off the plane was go to a coffee shop in Rotterdam.
Like
When they
cafe
named
or
or
a
anything.
coffee shop?
Yeah, like no, a cafe. Like not a coffee shop. Yeah, like 8 a.m. Let's go. Blitz.
Exactly. Just get chill.
Yeah. I had a 45-hour flight. I'm rolling on at 5 a.m., man. Like, let's go.
Yeah, for people that don't know who might be watching, like in the Netherlands, Ben lives in the Netherlands. A coffee shop in the Netherlands means something else. They sell smokable products there.
Yep, legalized marijuana.
Yeah,
And it's totally cool.
so Ben, like if I'm looking at your Instagram, you have like you have like almost 58,000 followers. That's crazy. And
steadily decreasing as
Yeah.
I lack activity.
But so were you already like coffee famous when you moved to Europe?
Yeah, I think I was probably more popular then for latte art and stuff, which I don't do anymore. So I guess I'm paying the price of not being skilled at pouring milk anymore.
Some hearts, yeah. So
yeah,
some likes, yeah.
Too busy. I mean, I mean, in fairness, I don't really drink really much milk anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Well, milk is bad from the cows, right? It's like,
yeah.
Not very good for your body.
and as a coffee producer, I kind of find adding milk to coffee kind of like an insult. It would be like,
Are you serious?
Do you really? It's like
Seriously.
Are you fucking
totally.
Like,
It's like adding
get out of here.
Adding Coca-Cola to wine, dude.
That is ridiculous.
Who the fuck does that?
You shouldn't add Coca-Cola to wine.
It's like adding cement to
It's like,
your t-shirt.
What about sangria? What about like a shandy? New drink.
Yeah, a creative.
It's the same
drink,
idea. It's a
a creative
cappuccino.
drink every once in a
Espresso and
while.
milk.
It's okay,
Bring them together.
But most of specialty coffee is milk-based drinks, right?
Well, that's the thing.
Like the volume of what.
But it's also like it's like a dessert, really. It's like a new product. It's not. It's not pure coffee, but like.
It's also a lot softer on people's like insides to drink lattes and whatnot, because the greater majority of roasters and baristas aren't fantastic.
I didn't quite get that, Kresten. Like, I think your microphone's like a bit like not so clear.
Okay, sounds excellent to me.
Uh,
Can you tell me when it's better?
right now it's a bit better, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Kresten, like at the time when I met you, I was living in Berlin. I was trying to set up my coffee project at the time, and I was living in this neighborhood called Prenzlauer Berg, which is like a nice residential neighborhood on a hill above the center of Berlin. And it seemed like at the time it was the epicenter of like specialty coffee in Berlin. You had the Barn, you had Bonanza in that area. And then so there was a small cafe there called No Fire, No Glory. And, you know, I had a really good friend who told me, hey, you should pay attention to this new barista at the cafe, like, because it seems that he wants to do stuff, you know. And like, sure enough, like, you know, he was right. You know, like you ended up setting up your own cafe and then your own roastery. You know, so I don't know where I'm getting at with this, but
you're on a roll. Keep going. Prenzelberg cafe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe I should have listened to him, because you know, at the beginning, I think it was my goal to set up my own roastery cafe, but I got so caught up with you know, setting up the importing company, and it was just way easier to sell green coffee to a bunch of roasters than to try to like sell roasted coffee, right? So like, you know, the first year I brought like a small quantity of coffee to Berlin, and I was basically like roasting at Bonanza and kind of like going door to door, random bars, offering them roasted coffee, and I wasn't really going anywhere. And then you know, I gave a talk at this like barista retreat, barista camp or some crap like that. And you know, I thought I was giving a talk to baristas, but yeah, I didn't really know who was there, and I just kind of like, I made this dude like an like after the talk, he approached me, and you know, he asked me about coffee, and I had coffee there, made him an AeroPress, and he liked it, and he asked to buy some green coffee. And you know, it turned out to be Klaus from Coffee Collective. So that was like my first client for green coffee. And then, you know, I still had some green coffee left over, and Five Elephant just took it all. So for me, it just became like, oh, you know, I might not sell it at such a high margin, but I can get rid of all the green coffee I brought. So I guess like that made me forget about setting up a roastery, you know, but I've always had kind of like that desire, you know. So but by now I think it's too late to set up a roastery in Europe. There's already too many. So but in a way, I guess
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
There's lots of people. Like if you think about every single person that drinks coffee, like in Europe, and then try and just guess how many coffee roasteries are, that's a lot of people per roastery.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, but I mean, then the counterpoint would probably be like, would it be worthwhile, and how much effort is required to run and operate a roastery?
Yeah, exactly.
And investment. Roasteries aren't cheap. So
did you I bootstrapped out.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we own everything. Luckily. The first roaster, like, you know, it was mine, and was probably everything I had at the time. But yeah, like, I mean, I although I agree, like the market is like enormous and there's plenty of share to go around. I think it's also dependent on, like, I guess what kind of coffee you want to make, what kind of market you want to take that's there, who you're competing with, how big it is. Like, I mean, specialty coffee is still not like that big, especially not in Europe.
Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of coffee drinkers, but maybe not so much like specialty. And there's like ratio specialty drinkers to specialty roasters.
Yeah. That's what I mean, is in like, yeah, I mean, totally, you could do it, but I'm not
gonna do it now.
I mean, the Dutch market is, I would say, I mean, it makes sense that a lot of people are opening roasteries, but a lot of people that are opening roasteries are like, I want to do, you know, let's say like €9+ coffees, like, you know, for the market that's kind of expensive for green at least. And then there's not
like €9 per kilo green coffee.
Yeah, I would say it's like kind of expensive for just a regular market. And so to make money on that is kind of hard because you need to find customers that'll trust you, and like the coffee needs to perform, I guess, like competitively against other roasteries. And then on top of that, like just to get some sale, you're probably going to be lowering your prices in the Dutch market.
So you guys, you guys took different approaches. Like Ben, you focused on roasting, and you guys don't have a cafe. Kresten, you opened your cafe, and it became really popular. Father Carpenter in Berlin, and then you teamed up with another Australian team that had another cafe called Silo, and together you set up Fjord. So you have different brands, one supplying the other.
We have another coffee brand as well.
Yeah, Field, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Like the
Field.
You got 3 brands.
I got 4.
Fuck.
What's the fourth one?
So how do you deal with the stress?
Well, it's like, to be honest, there's 5. Well, there was 5 until like 2 weeks ago. But it's like, one is
we're gonna get into
that. Yeah, one is called LNT Hospital. It's just a wholesale, like one-stop shop wholesale portal. And then there's Fjord, which is primo, and then there's Field, which is like good. Let's call it good normal.
So but LMT is kind of like the mother.
LNT Hospitality GmbH is the company that owns all of them. Yeah.
Oh, you have a holding company?
No, like if I was in your country, probably, but not here.
Yeah. So I mean, a thing I share with Kresten is kind of like a love-hate relationship with Germany.
Well, German bureaucracy, man.
Have you found a good tax advisor?
Like the current one now is better than the others.
I mean, I
have a great personal accountant, and then the business accountant that we have now is thorough but slow.
I think my life is perfect until I have to deal with my German accountant, and I don't know. I wish like some sort of like administrator would just show up in my life and like take that problem away from me. Like I would probably give like part of my company away to someone just to like take care of that type of stuff.
Why don't you do that?
People would.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah.
It's hard to find skilled people. That skilled, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, and even worse with the pandemic, like this whole phenomenon of people just quitting and not really wanting to do anything, and I don't know. I kind of suffered from that, during the pandemic. I stopped answering emails. I really didn't. Just kind of whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I answer to maybe 5. I answer to like 5% of my emails. If it has more than like 20 words, I just delete it.
That's a great philosophy.
Right.
Well, yeah.
You should have like a character limit on like receiving emails, so they just either go into the trash or
filter. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't need a filter. It's too big. Done.
Well, I guess by now you have people helping you out at Fjord, but I guess we could say that Fjord would be kind of like the second generation of specialty coffee roasters in Berlin. I guess we could say Bonanza, the Barn, and Five Elephant would be the first generation. And then, and it seemed that Fjord arrived with kind of like a more professional approach with in terms of customer service and things like that.
Shots fired.
I don't know. Well, so like, what?
At Bonanza. Oh, I don't doubt that. I mean, because I don't think I've ever been there, so I can't really say anything. But I would assume that it's fucking great. Like,
That was deep.
like, I mean, I've seen your services while you were in Australia, and they were ace. So, I mean, it's interesting because that time period of those people in the industry, not that many of them are actually left there anymore in coffee.
Do you guys know about Bertrand competition and perfect competition? Have you heard of these before?
Nope.
I've heard about that. Like if everyone's doing the same thing and something
You
like
cancel
that.
one another out. Exactly. So like a farm is usually considered perfect competition because it's like you growing. So like some people will taste the difference, but the greater majority of people won't be able to taste the difference between like a cauliflower and someone else's cauliflower. So it's just like your similarity cancels you out. Cancels one another out. Yeah. So that's I can't remember what the equation for that is, but then there's Bertrand competition, which is P equals MC, which is price equals marginal cost. And that is if one of you open a pen shop and you buy ballpoint pens for 5 cents. So Rodolfo, you buy ballpoint pens for 5 cents and you sell them for €1 and you're the only person doing that. Then you start selling a lot of ballpoint pens, you have pretty good margin. Ben sees you making bank on selling ballpoint pens, so he buys ballpoint pens for 5 cents, and what does he do? He sells them for 95 cents. Yeah, and there's a spiral downward until price equals marginal cost, and that's what P equals MC is. That's Bertrand competition. That is what the greater majority of kind of specialty coffee roasters do. They go into some kind of price war to differentiate yourself. You either lower your price, you try and increase the quality.
The cheap blender.
It depends.
This is the British problem. Like that, I mean, there's huge spiraling down in wholesale pricing.
Yeah,
to like the point where when the C market price went up, like when we had that blast, a lot of people were just like, we're out. Like, because you're getting cut on the other side. You've already relinquished all of your margin. So when your like product goes up in price, you've got nothing left.
Yeah. So like when you do something like this, it's like instead of lowering your price, how can you justify a higher price? And it's like no one here is going to remember, like when you're 80 years old and I say, what's the best meal you've ever had? You're not going to remember what it tasted like. You're going to remember who you're with and how you felt. Yeah, because like that personal and emotional connection that humans make other humans feel is like far more memorable, way more memorable. So it's just like a point of differentiation for every single customer facing company should be a personable, make them feel better one, regardless of the product. The product can be fantastic or the product can be super shit. You need to make your margin, like you pay money for a product, you fix it up and make it a little bit better, and then you sell it. And you need to make a margin, because why the fuck would anyone? Well, why should any employee ever work for someone that doesn't make a profit? Like, why would they work there? Why should they work there if you don't know how to make profit? Like the company's going nowhere. Do you know what I mean? So how can you justify making your margin? Is it making the product better, or is it providing better customer service, or what is it? This is what I mean. It's like with Bertrand competition, this is like vertical differentiation and horizontal differentiation.
So
like,
with your roastery, you would say you focused on better customer service.
Did you also did quality at the same time?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. Well,
you always focus quality too. Like and
quality is just like one of the sure things is like quality will always win kind of thing. So it's just like you can have shitty customer service but a fucking awesome quality product, and you probably won't go bust quick. Yeah,
quick. But if you have both, then you kill. You always win.
Yeah.
I mean, we try and like do the, like our best is like kind of a only roastery, like like almost all of our correspondence is email or I mean, it very rarely like telephone, I suppose. But I really try to make sure that like it's not just like a blase
paste email
copy. Yeah, absolutely. So like one of the things that I work with, like my sales guy Dan, who he actually worked at Patricia's.
hang on. Okay.
And he was
The other.
I was like, if you
Yeah,
can,
exactly.
yeah, salute. If you can, you know, really focus on like just some degree of like being personable in an email, remembering who people are, and like, you know, what the last thing you talk to them about is, you know, and drop them a little bit of a line. He's quite good at it. He's like a really friendly dude. He's got a good memory for people.
Yeah, but how can you do that when
And
you have a lot of customers?
By having a CRM system that like holds all the information for you. You just like check up on it.
Yeah.
It's the same reason like everyone should always write notes.
Yeah.
Like humans are really shit at remembering a lot of stuff. So like use all the tools you can to make your memory better and bigger. I don't know, like CRM programs are amazing. It's just like, it's the same thing with like kind of 101 sales is like be able to like pitch your idea, having done a lot of research, like you need to know who you're talking to. Yeah. And then the second thing is be able to like pivot because maybe your pitch is not what they give a shit about. And then the last thing is like have an understanding of who the person that you're talking to is, what they care about, what they like. Because the thing is like maybe today isn't the day that you sell them something, but like they're interested in running. So if one day you listen to like an awesome podcast about running, send it to them and then they'll, do you know what I mean? Like you and your brand will be in there, like whatever it's called, like the fourth or recent memory, whatever, and it's personable. So like you're thinking about them.
Yeah.
Like they'll probably, they're more likely to like buy something off you and like open a conversation if you're constantly talking to them.
All right, can you guys hear this music or it's not bothering you? No,
I can't hear.
No.
Yeah, it's like a Sunday here, so there's like a bar down the street that does like drunk karaoke, so it's kind of. But
only karaoke.
So
only karaoke.
Yeah, that's right.
Who does
There's only
karaoke
one.
sober?
Okay, so
it's a nice sober time. Yeah. Would you like to sing today?
Huh? What?
Nothing.
It's all like pancetta. But hey, getting into like the cafe topic, in my experience as a consumer showing up at Father Carpenter, it seems very, you know, this is something I've noticed and I think I've spoken with you about, that it seems very like systematic, like there's like a system to running it, you know, and I really like admire that, you know, because it's like you show up, they sit you down, they bring you water. It's kind of like this like progression that sort of happens really quickly. And you had mentioned that like you have like kind of like a family background in restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think that gives you kind of like a competitive advantage versus some dude just opening a cafe and not really knowing like how to run things.
Yeah, I guess.
No,
like,
definitely.
I assume so. Like you would hope so, right? Literally only done one thing with my life, and that's like working gastronomy. You would hope that I'm not shit at it.
Yeah, I mean that service model is like, that's like Melbourne Cafe 101. If you don't do that, you probably won't have return people
immediately.
Yeah, people aren't going to hang around to wait. It's actually one of the things that really bothered me when I got to the Netherlands was there's no defined service of any kind in any place a lot of the time.
So it's like very kind of like casual jobs that people take.
That's cool. It's totally cool to have like a casual service, which is like you just sit, but to have it not be clear is really something that bothers me.
It's not like a proper business kind of, you know, that's like aggressively trying to like sell you stuff or, you know.
Yeah. Like, I mean, just like, do I sit down? Do I wait? Like, where do I pay? What am I doing? Like, I came here, you sell this, like, how do I get it? Those things aren't often
some bitter, how do I get the bitter ball in?
Yeah, well, I mean, the man, like Dutch bars, man, like could probably sell like 20 times as much stuff easily if they were more organized, I think.
So is it just about showing back up at the table and asking if people want something else? Or?
It's
Oh,
just like making it clear from the beginning, isn't it? It's just like there's like a customer has an X amount of time to be in a business, right? And it's like, maybe it's not because they're on their break at work or whatever, but it's just like they're not going to spend 14 hours there. So it's like, more often than not, in these kind of like weird, who knows what's going on, cafes, restaurants or whatever, there's like 5 minutes of that customer's time wasted with them just trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, like whether they're supposed to seat themselves, like what cuisine it is, whether it's like counter service, table service, where they pay, if they can pay with card, all this kind of shit.
Yeah,
it's like time wasting.
Yeah, the other thing I would point out about Father Carpenter is that there's no hand brewed filters, right?
Yeah, because it takes like 4 days to make something that's inconsistent.
days?
Not that great.
Would you like our unskilled brew? Yes,
exactly.
Yes, please.
Exactly.
Like, sorry. Well, I mean, and then also there's the like a follow on to that, which is like, how skilled do you need your staff to be to make a consistent product, and how much work is that for you to keep on top of them to make a consistent long period hand brew that is
with light coffee. Like if it's like a dark,
it's just not
like dark,
it's not going to be fun.
No one gives.
Have you guys ever been to Supreme in Oslo?
Yeah.
What did you think of the V60s there?
V60s there are delicious.
Yeah. So basically,
but like there weren't that many customers. Customers like 500 people at a time.
So after a few years, like I kind of stopped ordering hand brewed filters in cafes because it was always, I don't know, it was always badly extracted. But then I went to that place and it was just like, wow, like consistently very, very good.
Excellent.
And I just remember that place as like kind of like a highlight. But yeah, I guess it's not like, I mean, they're a roastery, and then so that's like a secondary thing that they do. They could survive off of a few V60s, right? And then Ben, like you seem to have like a niche market with like the whole kind of like geishas and like all these very
I don't know, like I mean, I'm very lucky to have customers that are interested in paying for high-end coffee, that's for sure.
But I would say, like, I go around Europe visiting different roasters, and you're probably one of the people that's most involved in like developing new processing techniques, which I find very interesting. I think I've been quite surprised with some of the stuff that you have. Like, I remember that like the low elevation, what was it, like caturas that were
Catura 144 and Katakai.
Like, really floral, kind of like violet, this like kind of like purple notes of like, very interesting.
I mean, the Brazil stuff, I mean, I'm not like hugely involved in personally, like, for example, like the stuff in Nicaragua, Honduras, or Panama, or Colombia. That one is basically run by like our partner, Ignacio Suarez. He does like, basically he's from like this really, I mean, I don't really want to say like poor, but I mean, it's like a region of Brazil that is not known for coffee. There's a lot of coffee farmers out. I mean, it's known for poor coffee. There's a lot of coffee farmers out there that don't make much money.
So is it like a small producer area of Brazil? Like
yeah. I mean, some of these producers only do like, like when I started with Ignacio, I mean, some of the project coffees were like 3 to 5 bags max for like an entire harvest, which is nothing. But basically, like his his coffee is great. He knows what he's doing, and then his philosophy is that he wants to invigorate the region and share that information with people that are also from there, because he's from there, and he's been like lucky and successful in other business too. So he has like plenty of wealth to share.
So what's he doing that's special?
Oh, like, he just teaches anyone that wants to get on board, like how to do like longer fermentation naturals, how to like take care of plants, from coffee plants, like maintain them.
What's he doing with the long fermentations?
Oh, it's this basically the same stuff that you might do. Like it's just like it depends which producer you're talking about, like, and how much coffee they have. Most of the small scale stuff is like in those like sort of 100, 120 liter blue barrels, like that you would find in beer. And they call it.
The issue I have with those is that the barrel, I feel it's not a uniform process. The cherries that sit at the bottom and the cherries that are at the top.
I would say without a recirculator, none of it is. Like it doesn't matter like how big or small, it's random. Like, I mean, you'll probably have, like the bigger you go, the more crushing effect you'll have on the bottom of the cherries, but then also you're breeding like different microorganisms under certain conditions and pressures. So like for example, like the 3,000 liter tanks taste different to the an 80 or 100 liter tank. But what do you do when you have like only 100 liters worth of coffee cherry? Like you're not going to fill like a 3,000 liter tank and be like, it's going to be the same.
How's it going with your dehydrator? Like you were developing this like dehydrator that kind of like you put coffee in a box. It's not,
I mean, that's not. I mean, the idea of that was to find out, just like what, like with probes, like what if drying is more consistent, what does it mean? Because even in like Guardiolas and common coffee dehydrators, like the measurement point is pretty inconsistent with the mass. Like Guardiolas, like you probably have one probe point, but it might not be.
For people
very unlikely would be in it.
Like Guardiola is like a drum roaster that's rotating, and you dry the coffee inside a drum. But so you were developing a box that has a dehydrator that recirculates the air and takes the moisture out of the air. So I think that kind of like you can ferment coffee and then stop it. And, so it doesn't keep fermenting as coffee would in a raised bed. And also you avoid UV damage, which, we're realizing that maybe sitting out in the sun for like a few weeks is going to damage, coffee's going to suffer damage from UV and probably lose a few aromatics. So I was really impressed with those caturras because they were very floral.
That caturra was really good. You're lucky that you got it because it was only like 8 kilos or something. It was nothing.
So what's the market for those type of coffees? Like who buys that? Is it like individual consumers ordering retail bags? Is it crazy?
I mean, we don't.
Or
a lot of the back end stuff we don't really say a huge amount about. In that, like to write up a lot of it to make it like a really accessible product for everybody. If I went into like acute detail about what exactly it is that makes a coffee, it's not very entertaining. Pretty dry. And the thing is as well is that anyone that is more interested in the coffees that we sell can easily contact us. So if they want to know more information, they can, DM us by.
I was just wondering, is it more
whatever, like
cafes buying it or individuals like buying it for home?
Both.
But
I would say like cafes probably make the bulk for certain.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Kresten, we had a project that didn't take off in Colombia.
Yeah, back to back.
So we were I don't know if I've told you about this, Ben, but we were planning on like teaming up with a farmer in Colombia, and someone that had available land, and we were gonna invest and set up like a new farm. And we kind of tried it with a few people, and it didn't work out. Like in the end, like I don't know. Yeah. I mean, like the first guy, it was perfect. It was a farm at the top of the mountain in Huila. It was 1900 meters, and
like 25 hectares or something.
Yeah, he had like cows and
25
coffee.
hectares. Oh, it's still it's a solid start.
Well, so
plenty of space.
He had a little bit of coffee, and then he had cows. So cows require a lot more space, and then he got out of the cow thing. So he had this land, and he didn't have the money to plant coffee. So we were going to make him a partner, and he would put the land, and we would develop a farm and micromill. And we went out there, and like we had all these talks. We visited several times. We had like the lawyers ready, and in the end he backed out. And then we tried with another guy, and it was in Palestina. And then
Nice.
we realized
that seems great.
But like, dude, but Palestina is like, it's like the last town, and like the mountain after Palestina is where all the cocaine is grown, like all the coca. And Palestina used to be a FARC camp until a few years ago. And what this guy hadn't told us was that he had been kidnapped by the guerrillas.
Fuck.
I was just like, oh man, like,
getting dark.
Yeah, I don't want like some roaster getting kidnapped here, and like I guess when we were traveling in Colombia was when there was like the peace agreement, but then a new right-wing.
Yeah, the change of governments, right? I remember you told me about it. Yeah,
started getting more dangerous and stuff. So we backed out of that one, and then we found another space that was perfect. It was like 1 hour outside of Bogota, and so we were sitting there, and it's like this beautiful valley with like snow peaks at the end, and and I was just sitting there, like kind of like, hey, isn't there a farm called like La Palma and Tucán around here? And they were like, oh yeah, it's like down there.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
So like it was like 300 meters above La Palma. But this guy had kind of like personal issues. He was going through a divorce. And then in the end he backed out. So it's like
with a farm being an asset, it's like gone through a divorce. It's like if we set a farm up in the not too distant future, half that farm would probably be her farm, not our farm.
Yeah. So I guess like it's, I guess the main issue there was not having enough money to just go out and like buy stuff, and trying to do this sort of partnership with people that led us on, and then in the end didn't want to sign the papers. And then I guess we could have kept trying, but at that point, like my dad got sick and he retired, and he gave me some of his farmland. So I was just like, what am I doing running around Colombia when I should just like take care of the farms I just inherited in El Salvador? So I guess that was the end of the project. So that was kind of like, I still want to do like a project with you, Kresten. So we were talking about the wine thing.
Oh yeah.
So I guess like, I don't have a board of directors to answer to, so I'm kind of free to like go and do what I want. And all these issues in Colombia with like small producers trying to trick you and mixing coffees, and I don't know. And I just thought it was difficult to handle during the pandemic when you can't travel and supervise. And I was just like, is this what I really want? Like babysitting all these small producers that don't even have moisture meters. And I was just like, I already have to deal with a lot of shit in El Salvador. I want to do something fun in my life. So I was like, why don't I source wine in Italy? And, so Kresten, like you set up a new like wine bar, and I found this like small producer in Italy that's kind of like itinerant winemaker, that he's just a young dude. He finds rare varieties and he rents a tank and ferments wine. And
Easy to do that, yeah.
Yeah, so
Happens all the time.
we bought a pallet of wine and sent it to Berlin. But I guess like that it didn't go so well with the wine bar. Like
yeah, it's a little bit probably ahead of its time. I don't know.
Well,
trying
bad timing.
What's that?
Bad timing, like winter pandemic kind of thing, or
yeah, like it's I'm going to assume this, but I very much feel it for myself. Getting a business up and running and rolling, first and foremost, you need to have a shitload of luck on your side. And anyone that doesn't think that luck is a big part of success is a fool, I think. And yeah, didn't have the luck. And then also like energy in affects the energy that you get out. And it's just like, there's a little bit too much energy needed to go in to kind of get that flywheel moving.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just like you need to pull the pin when something starts hemorrhaging lots of money.
Yeah,
it's just like it's corona time. It's going into winter. Like COVID cases here are spiking, going up because for some reason Berlin doesn't like getting vaccinated, and we're in a new area. Like an easier thing to do is to open a second branch, I guess, of a brand that already exists.
Yeah, so now you're gonna open a second Father Carpenter, which is a formula that's like proven to work. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's also a brand that's already known. So opening one will get people excited as well.
Yeah, but it's just like, I don't know what either of you are in business for, but like I'm not in business to make money and like do like an easier route. Like I like the creative element of like.
Yeah. I don't think I would be a coffee farmer if I would want to make money. Like
that's an honest truth, I think. Yeah, I don't think it's an interesting time for exchanging of hands as well. In coffee farming too, there's a lot of young energy, that's for sure. You know, Rodolfo, I guess like you would be one of those people as well, taking over from your dad, and then facing the hardships of actually selling the product, especially with like such a large farm.
The hardships of leaf rust and anthragnosis and you know, like a kind of a government that does you know, from one day to the next raises.
You want some Bitcoin?
Like 20%.
Hey, do you have Bitcoin? Because I need to pay you in Bitcoin now.
Well, like, yeah, like I'm obligated to accept Bitcoin.
I shouldn't laugh. Yeah, I know. I shouldn't laugh about that.
Like it's legal. Yeah, it's legal tender. So you know what I'm scared is that like, you know, so basically when I buy coffee from another farmer locally, I have to pay 15% tax. And then when I export it without tax. So then I have to ask the government back for that tax, for that VAT. And, you know, they take like a year to give it. And they give you like these bonds that you sell in the market at a discount. And you know, I'm just afraid that they're going to give me Bitcoin. And
they give you bonds?
Yeah.
They already give you bonds.
Something like that. And
you mean bonds? Bonds as in like governmental bonds?
Government bonds.
Yeah.
You
It works something like that. You know, so
that's crazy.
If they start giving me Bitcoin, then I guess I have to pay the farmers in Bitcoin. And it's just going to be circulating the Bitcoin around like kind of like hot potato, you know. Like,
I mean,
yeah, well, yeah, it's like the folklore of coffee production, right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the bond thing, it sounds insane. Imagine getting you're like finishing your tax return in any like Western country, and then instead of getting your money returned, if you're in surplus from investment, you just get like a government bond.
A government bond.
Well,
yeah, this is good for money.
Exactly. Do you know to sell this? I fucking hope so.
But yeah, like I haven't had that good of an experience in Germany either, right? So, I mean, I can't get this tax advisor to finish the annual report. It's just like taking forever. So, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so guys, we're like approaching 1 hour. Is there any topic you guys want to kind of cover before we end it, or I don't know?
Kresten, you got something spicy?
So something spicy.
Yeah, because like initially the plan was that we've been talking with Ben about doing this, but the plan would be that we were gonna get drunk and just talk random crap in these series, but I guess we're keeping it a bit more proper.
I mean, if you call me at like 10 o'clock, I'll probably be there, I guess.
I'm not drinking at the moment, so I'm not the best person to get pissed with, I guess.
That's all right. It's Sunday, so.
But we need some spice there.
Day before Monday, you're fucked up.
Yeah, that's right. You got to start numbed, ready for like fucking 10 hours of roasting. Can't wait. Like, something spicy.
Well, this isn't really spicy, but I guess it's something we should cover. Like, so
Sure.
Ben, you asked me to do a special process last year, and we're trying to figure out how we fucked it up, because we totally kind of messed it up, right? So we were looking.
I think that was also partly me. I might have been a bit ambitious on some of those ideas when we started that.
Yeah, like it started with the whole. How like it started with Kenya not having enough space for drying, so they start drying.
It was Brazil.
Huh?
It was Brazil.
Or well, I mean, but also like the holding that happens in Kenya.
Oh yeah, I guess that does happen in Kenya too.
Yeah,
like,
so if you don't, wherever it happens, if you don't have enough space in the drying area, you start drying one coffee. Down to below, whatever, 20%.
As far as you can, yeah.
As far as you can, and then you store that, and then you bring the fresher coffee out to dry it. And they say that, we don't know this, but we're assuming, and this is what people talk about, that holding the coffee at a certain humidity before you finish drying it concentrates the sugars. Or
I don't know if it concentrates the sugars, but
I mean, but it does something, right? So we held the coffee at 20% moisture, and then took it back out to dry, and we basically figured out a new way to produce Quakers. It's like, so when I'm like trying to figure out, it's like what happened. So I think if we have a high moisture, certain microorganisms reproduce on the surface of the bean, and they must consume the sugars, and that's why it doesn't roast dark, because it doesn't caramelize, because there's not enough sugars there. So that's why it's Quakery.
I mean,
that's my theory.
I mean, I'd be interested on your take, Kresten. What do you think?
Like, I need to know more about the process, but it's just like, if something doesn't go brown, it's because it doesn't have some food to make it go brown. It's probably acid or sugar.
But even then, like, you still have the raw material, like, which is, I mean, the readings on that material was no different to any other coffee.
Okay, and that same coffee, was it like, did you also dry it in a controlled way, like an actual how you would usually dry coffee? Yeah, so how you maybe it's
dry beds. Oh mate, like I think it was fun. Like what I reckon was what happened was, and we've done this heaps in I think 7 countries now.
Yeah.
With strong results. There's 2 things. Like I think what actually is happening, you have very low amounts or slow amounts of like microbial activity. You must, because the like depth of flavor does get deeper, like there is more flavor in the coffee on an AB lot.
But you guys were holding it at 15%, and then we were doing it at 20%.
You were doing it at 20, and 20 on whole cherry doesn't tell you exactly like how dry the internal cell is. because getting a
we were
reading on the
dehulling
moist.
small pieces, and
Oh, you had 20% internal. Okay, that's still probably too high.
Yeah.
Because there was another, like we did it in Brazil as well, which was like the same lot, but like 10 times the flavor. Like that this like specific like weird like some sort of like bacteria that had grown that gave it this like weird sort of like meaty-ish chocolatiness.
How long are you holding it at 15 to 20%? Like it.
Well, we've done between. I mean, like when I started doing it, we did a couple of weeks, and then we put them out again, and then we bring them back, and then stabilize them for another couple of weeks, and those were great. That's like almost normal practice. And then we tried a month, and that was really good. That was better. Probably, I mean, arguably maybe like half a point, 1 point more.
Yeah.
And the longest we ever did was in a vacuum bag over 6 months, which I was like thinking, you know, when you talk about like wood and like aromatization, like in whiskey barreling or aging liquids, there's no reason you wouldn't think that like it would aromatize itself like considerably over a long period of time. And obviously having higher, like slightly higher moisture content allows it to like permeate through the cell more because it's more swollen than if it was at 10%, for example. Yeah, like, I mean, it's like probably like at least like 20% larger in size. It's like the difference between that moisture content is quite a lot for the actual size of the cell.
Yeah.
Which
I
means
missed
that
so I guess I'll have to like play back. I don't want to ask you to repeat it.
that's all right. You can ask me anytime, man. But
yeah, so
the 6 month one was hectic. Like that was the best coffee they ever produced. Oh, what's that?
It's like a little experiment, you know, like I dried it with a fan, and I never took it all the way down.
Is that coffee? I thought you just came out here and you're like proud of all the licorice you had or some shit.
Have you seen my candies? Yeah, fuck yeah. Look.
But so what I did here was that, you know, I left the cherries kind of wet, but I added a little bit of salt to kill off kill off any like microbial growth on the outside. And so I don't know, I'll see. I just like left it abandoned here for like a year. Well,
how's it smell? Smell good?
Yeah, like kind of like, you know, like a clean kind of raisin kind of thing.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
One of the things that we started like telling people that were interested in doing the stalls was to check it by smell, because if you like, you know, it's going south if like the smell starts going into like kind of unusual territories. If you're doing it right, basically the smell of like the natural product becomes much more great in I guess amplitude. Like it's just a lot of it. So, you know, you've put a bag at like 15% on stalling it. I mean, like I say stall, but like, I mean, commonly it's said as like a latent humidity lengthening. But
how were they storing it at 15%?
Okay, so it depends like where you are, because obviously like conditions change, but you want it at like in a space that's like 50 to 60% humidity, that is like, you know, ideally between like 17 and 19 degrees if you can. So that would be like inside inside a house, you know, somewhere like, you know, that you can manage the humidity. Not everyone has access to that stuff, like, because if you tie a bag like grain pro bag, you still get you know, transfer of stuff, even if you tie it really extremely well.
So you can buy the Ziploc
ones.
Yeah, exactly, and that would be perfect. But you know, like if you have like 90% humidity outside and you didn't
hot hot El Salvador.
and hot, yeah, and then you didn't seal it just perfectly. There's a lot of exchange to happen.
So speaking about
Because
that,
the
like
yeah.
what do you guys think about cryo maceration?
Cryo.
Cryo.
Haven't had enough to know,
Okay,
but I know
so-
that the cellular like the exterior of the coffee changes.
Mhm.
And then I honestly think that some coffees, like the rehydration has or when it goes from frozen to not frozen,
Mhm.
something happens. But besides that, like I really can't say. Like, I mean, the coffees I've had were really good.
Mhm. So what I
that's it.
basically understood was that you know, you don't need to hold it frozen for a long time. You just need to freeze and unfreeze. And doing this, like kind of like, you know, kind of decomposes the skin, the cherry a bit more. So there's more release of, you know, enzymatic aroma transfer from the skin into the bean. So, you know, so I thought like, okay, like, do you really need to freeze it to do that? What if you just kind of like smash the coffee around a bit, you know, to like macerate it a bit more?
Yeah, or you can put it under pressure. So if you have like a really big tank, you're gonna have more maceration.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a steel tank,
But then
and
well,
this is
the bigger the tank, the more it heats up, and then you get
that's
different
true.
organisms.
Yeah,
growing.
like, but that's why you need a recirculator for the tank to manage the overall
Yeah, but then
temperature of
you know,
the
there you're
product.
getting into like expensive equipment that's hard to
I
ship.
know.
Salvador and-
Look, I mean, what do you want? Yeah, that's how it is. Like, or you can
Yeah.
put it in the ground.
Dude, like,
Like-
you know, Kresten sent me roasted coffee and some hats, and I wasn't able to import it into El Salvador.
Ugh.
It got stuck in customs. Yeah. So
You'll have to just buy the parts and build it yourself.
yeah. So I guess like a good way to end this would be like, is there any like interesting process that I should try this year? Because I'm in the middle of harvest right now, and you know, I'm curious and I could try something new.
I
We
mean,
fucked up last year's experiment, so
you want to give it another go?
well, I'll do 15%.
Yeah, I think you should. Like, I'd like to see that not fail. And I mean, yeah, I mean, you're gonna give like fruit fermentations a go?
Yeah, we're doing like a orange juice soak, just a soak. It's not really a fermentation, because we're gonna do it with like washed coffee and then put it in orange juice.
We've done it with pineapple juice before,
like get in the infusion bus, yeah.
We've done it with pineapple juice before, like people do with cheap meat.
Sorry?
Yeah. Like the tenderizer.
Yeah, exactly. Have you done it
Yeah.
with pineapple juice just to see what it's like?
Mhm.
I've had that before. I knew a guy
Like
that
coffee
did it, but
coffee or steak?
yeah, with coffee, with pineapple.
Oh, yeah?
Like, yeah, it's different.
But
But I mean, that wasn't juice. Like, and I think if you really wanted to like go hard to know for certain if it has that effect, you would probably want to get a shitload of pineapples and pulp them, and then put the coffee in that, because that's the like this other one was just like pineapple flesh put into a fermentation tank, and that was
so
it.
just to promote
Okay, man.
microorganisms.
Well, yeah, that would just be like a fermentation assist. But
So,
to put it entirely in pineapple, like pulped pineapple, it's like, you know, that wood is going to get nice and tender. Shit.
soft bean.
Yeah, it's the new one, soft hard bean, SHG. Like,
maybe you can eat it. You know, it would be like
yeah, who knows? Like,
natto or something. I don't know. Well, you know,
Yeah.
the Koji one got away from me. I was wanting to do the Koji process, and then other people did it before me. So
yeah, I told you, like they were doing it.
oh well, yeah.
That's all right. I mean, if you want some Origins, you can probably, like, I can probably get you some if you want it. But you said there was someone that was already had like
There was a Japanese Guatemalan guy that was doing Koji stuff. Yeah, it's not happening. Yeah, I mean, we can see if someone can bring it from Europe. There's some people coming. So, I mean, it would be great for you guys to visit. Kresten, you've been to El Salvador, but you were working with someone else when you showed up, and you almost got killed by the gangs. Yeah, and
really,
yeah, and then Ben, you haven't been here, right?
No, and I don't suspect I'll be going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, no.
Oh well.
I need to go back to Australia soon, man. When was the last time you were back? Ages ago?
2000, very early 2019, end of 2018.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
So just solid 3 years. I keep in touch with, like, you know, as many people as I can.
Are you guys allowed to go back now?
I mean, I could go back, but the problem is that, like, I can't really
you're the
get out because I'm the only person that roasts. And it's not like the roaster.
We can take turns, man. I'll roast your shit for you while you go back to Australia, and then I'll go and you do
that. And then, like, flying between, like, the Netherlands and Germany so that you can have like 25 minutes at like Melbourne airport. Like, it'll still take you 2 days to get there. Like,
how would the roasting tax work for that? Because Germany has a really fucked up roasting tax. You know, if we actually had like a industry kind of, you know, if the SCA weren't so focused on latte art or stuff like that, you know, we would actually have like a
Ben.
Yeah, it's all my fault. Fuck, what did I do?
No. Well, so, like, you know, just to explain this, Germany has a very special, unfair tax that singles out coffee, and it's like €2.19 or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Per kilo.
I thought isn't there also another tax that's like €1 per kilo for consumers too?
In Germany?
Yeah.
There's Mehrwertsteuer, which is just like the general service tax. Mehrwertsteuer, which is 19% for services and 7% for essential goods.
So basically,
that's normal.
€2.19 per roasted kilo of coffee, and that's to try and keep.
It's pretty high. Like,
dude,
it's ridiculous. It's so high.
When you figure this out, like for commercial coffee, probably the German government is taking a larger cut than the farmer.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, easily. Easily.
Like billions of euro.
At least double.
You know, so if you go after that, probably the German Secret Service will go after you.
Whoa, I don't know about that.
It's a big chunk of their budget, you know. And, you know, in theory, like, remember the 4 freedoms of the EU, like one of them is like free circulation of goods. You know,
that's why you don't have to pay those taxes when you export.
No, but if you're selling to a cafe in Germany, when they import the coffee from the Netherlands into Germany, they should pay that tax.
They're supposed to pay that tax.
And they can get screwed. So, you know, it's pretty unfair, and we don't have any like serious kind of body that represents us that would fight against that.
Sounds like every facet of coffee, actually. Like, there is no body that really like fights. I mean, I think when I started in coffee, like, there was no union for coffee workers. The roles were undefined if you were doing those jobs. And I mean, it's just how it was. So, you know.
Now?
Yeah, there's a hospitality union now, but I mean, it's small, but yeah, it exists.
You're talking about Australia or the Netherlands?
In Australia, but like, I doubt there's like really.
What are you talking about over here?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not the European way.
It's like 50 years away, maybe.
It's like 50 people in that group, and they're probably all unemployed. Like, don't unionize. But you know, like. Like, I mean, things are changing, I guess. Like, it's not so bad.
Sorry, you know, to kind of end it, because I think Kresten needs to go to sleep now.
That's
I'm
fair.
not good. I'm not good.
But,
I mean, I can keep going. I'm just
Okay,
gonna crack
well-
another beer. Like,
yeah, well then, yeah, it's gonna be a long video. Who cares? No one's gonna watch it anyways.
just do like 3 parts, man. Like, or you do 12 parts and like cut it up into like 5-minute segments and just.
I'm not gonna cut it up, dude. That's like too complicated. You know, I'm
Oh,
just gonna
okay.
upload it.
Well,
And
hey, like,
but hey,
you know.
how do you see 2022 going? You know, because like it's kind of like at the beginning of the pandemic, I was really worried, but then I don't know. After a while, it was like, okay, people are really addicted to coffee. They're not gonna stop drinking this shit. And
People won't ever stop drinking coffee.
but I think by now a lot of like the government subsidies are stopping. So maybe some cafes are gonna go broke this year. Or what do you see? What do you see happening in European specialty this year?
I mean, Kresten, you probably have a better beat on this than I do.
You just want more time to think about it, bro. Here you go.
It's not true. No, I think well, I think as far as like businesses that had to go through like the first strain of COVID like 19, most of them have diversified enough if they survived, and they probably already have more avenues for sale in some respects. And then the year that followed, like, yeah, you had subsidies for sure, but like, you know, if you're talking about like small and medium-sized businesses, like a subsidy is not going to make the difference.
Well,
you know, like
actually, like a German roaster was telling me that some cafes had their best year through the pandemic because they didn't have to pay any costs, and they were getting like, you know, the government paying them stuff. And you know,
we had clients that like, and I think it's also like, I mean, look, the cafe culture here is very different to other places. It's normal. We had clients that like, when you couldn't sit in anymore, that were making maybe 3 times as much because people would just order takeaway and leave. You know, like once tables are full, people want to sit down and they won't wait. That's a pretty Dutch thing.
What's the trend?
And also people sit for a long time, so you know, you can't.
Well, that's why you got to bring them water to make them feel uncomfortable and take their.
That's why you bring the bill.
That's what I learned from Kresten.
Are you ordering anything else? Here's the bill.
Some water and be like, hey.
No, you don't put the water. It's just like, can I get you anything else? Here's the bill. Like, you know, that's it.
And
it's not like you can't sit, but you know, please settle up. Because we have other clients.
Any trends in terms of varieties or processing?
Oh, I mean, wait, are we back onto regular coffee, or like, I thought we were talking about like whether like for the coming year?
Yeah.
Well, obviously there's a lot of hype behind the Koji thing. We did some methodology with the guys at Miguel that basically emulates like sake fermentation. Like the way they were doing it already was they were literally just like sprinkling Koji onto like the product, but you know, just looking at the photos that Elias was sending me, I'm like, oh, that's not seeding. that's not growing, man. Like it's and so, you know, we looked at that and I was just like, well, one of the problems is that coffee skin has like fuck all starch. Like it's not a starch-based product like rice. So make a squeezy bottle of like a dilution of like a starch material. I think that they ended up using like rice flour.
Yeah. Why rice instead of like, okay.
Well, instead of what?
Like corn-based thing. It's like cheaper. And
yeah, you could. I told him just get whatever. Like, he was just like, oh yeah, I can get it. I'm just like, it doesn't even matter which one.
So
you use potato starch if you wanted to.
This Koji becoming like a trend. Koji.
I think this year it'll be quite popular.
Like more people are gonna be doing, because it seems like it's gonna be hard to get Koji available for coffee producers, and then
I didn't say that a lot of people would be doing it. I just said that it would be a popular thing. Like I mean, people are going to be interested in trying to make it.
Okay.
Elias did say that like one of the red bourbon lots from like this harvest was like probably the best red bourbon lot he's ever had from his farm ever.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tasted it yet, but in a week I will.
And do you think Eugenoides will be a big thing or whatever?
No, because it's not in abundance. What? There's no way to get it. Like, and they also
the
Eugenoides.
It's a different species.
Did you notice? Yeah. Okay, right. Yeah. That's all fucking pre-sold already. It's like 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's also the guys at Immaculata are increasing the price as well because the demand is so high.
And
so you can make.
I remember someone from the US used it like in 2015, but it was like a very bready kind of roast, and so like it didn't really go that far at the brewers.
I think at the time, like I mean, a lot of the Eugenoides that was early stage stuff, like I mean, that just wasn't processed so good.
Mm-hmm. Or it
did taste like toast.
First few years of production, maybe, and the bean hadn't fully given its flavor. So have you tried it? What does it taste like?
Stevia. And
like
kind of like
bitter, like
fruit?
stevia, like sweet and bitter, or what?
No, I actually find it kind of just like unnaturally sweet.
Yeah.
It's just yeah, it doesn't taste. Yeah, I mean, I totally get why it worked so well in comp, was because it has like an disputable shock factor that it's like so unique.
Mm-hmm.
But personally, I don't find it. Well, I might drink half a cup of a coffee like that. Okay. The other thing that it has is like no bitterness, which like that's like also kind of part of drinking coffee. I like
low caffeine or what?
Yeah, I think it's like half maybe.
Okay.
But like, yeah, it's not like if all coffee was like that and then regular Arabica was the outlier, I probably wouldn't drink coffee. So yeah, like I mean, if we can get our hands on it, of course we'll probably buy it, but I'm not particularly enthused about the cup profile of that coffee, although it's like so unique and natural, and there's like a million arguments you can make that's exciting. It's just not a coffee for me, I think. There's plenty of other varieties that I've cupped that I think are really, just as exciting in recent memory. So
what's your favorite new variety right now?
Dilla Alghe.
From Ethiopia.
Yeah, but it's just one specific. So that sample set out of the 1950s, there's like 9 Dilla Alghes, and then the one that somehow the one that like Gonzalo Hernandez has is just fucking awesome. I love that coffee.
What about it?
It just tastes like extremely high-end Ethiopian. It tastes like old Ethiopian. Mm-hmm. I don't even know how to really say it. It's like if you imagine old world washed Ethiopian, it always tastes like it. It's kind of like geisha, but with body.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's really, really rare. It's shit to farm, which basically puts it in the same vein as Eugenoides.
And you mentioned a name there from a producer that didn't sound like an Ethiopian name. So where are they growing?
Yeah, it's in Costa Rica and Guatemala and also in Jamaica.
Wow.
Yeah, he has like, this guy's crazy, man. Like Gonzalo has like 800 varieties. He has the largest private collection of Arabica varieties probably in the world.
Where is that?
In Costa Rica.
Wow.
And Guatemala. I think all of them have about the same saplings.
So
Most of the varieties aren't production though.
In Costa Rica and Guatemala?
So he has like partners.
Okay.
And like it's just a variety garden. They have a couple of production varieties. Dilla is one of them. I don't know. I love it. I think it's really good. Like, I mean, all I've had is like sort of past crop Dilla, like 9 months out at this point. And even then I was like, I mean, this is like probably like an 89-point coffee and I love the taste. So
sorry, I just got reminded. Hey, Kresten, were you ever at the Pink Bourbon guys in Huila? The guy that had the Picante variety? I think the place where we played football. Soccer.
Yeah.
Do you remember this Picante variety?
Yeah.
Picante.
Yeah, it was like a spicy kind of like cherry, and it would numb your mouth. It was like a super weird plant. So they gave me some seeds, and now I'm producing it, and it's a super weird plant, man. Like right now it's gonna be our first harvest. You just taste it, and it's like kind of weird. I don't know what the hell it is.
Sounds like Cedra, like the same kind of thing, like with the weird mentholic shit.
Well, and it's nothing like that. Like it's yeah, it's like a it's like a spicy geisha kind of floral, spicy, weird stuff. I don't know.
I mean, I know one producer like calling a like a bourbon ahi, like, and it's supposed to be like similar.
Yeah,
like
it could be
Alghe,
that.
AJI.
Yeah, like in the San Adolfo area of Huila, maybe.
I think it's Huila, yeah. I mean, like I want to try it. Sure, yeah, absolutely. And numbing though, like numbing is really interesting that it would have that. Like in like what way
in
is
like
it
in like dried paprika, like dried chili, basically. Not like fucking bird's eye chili or whatever, but like paprika powder.
Weird.
Yeah.
Like red peppers.
Yeah, exactly.
And Kresten, what are some trends you see going on in Europe in coffee this year?
I'm not a very good person to ask that to. I don't know. What do I see some trends?
You had all this time. You didn't formulate a plan. What are you thinking?
No, because like I don't have an answer. I don't like to just make shit up. So like,
or what are you gonna focus on with your roastery and your cafes? Like what's like a step forward that you see happening this year?
With Fjord, step forward is finally starting to focus some energy on marketing.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
You never spent anything on marketing? I mean, like I haven't spent anything, but
or something.
Yeah, interesting.
No.
But is this a marketing exercise?
No, well, like you can say that everything is marketing, but no, not really.
For sure, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
just hanging out.
Yeah, so Fjord's hanging out. Yeah, marketing. Field is just focusing more energy on Berlin and trying to make it kind of synonymous with Berlin. It's a Berlin-focused, Berlin-centric brand. With Father Carpenter, I need to open his second one.
Where are you going to open?
Father Carpenter, would you say when or where?
Where?
Father Carpenter is going to open in the Patricia space, like close Patricia.
Yeah.
Reopen in Father Carpenter.
West Berlin, where there's not a lot of specialty coffee, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then other stuff that I would like to try and get one of the brands into the new Berlin airport.
Dude, Yeah, because I don't want to say names, but there's kind of like this really crappy place at the airport with like the worst sandwiches I've ever seen at any fucking airport ever. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
like the way that I think about it is like, it doesn't matter which airport, like apart from like maybe Singapore airport and what the one in Southeast Asia that you stop in going to Australia, I can't remember what, but it's got a big like fucking rainforest in the center of it. What's that one? It's like a huge dome with a rainforest in the middle of it. Anyway, so it's just like, anyway, so it's just like airports are usually not very memorable. You walk around, it's just like the same kind of like
the one with the dome is that's Singapore airport.
Is it? Okay, yeah. Then Singapore airport
it's got
memorable
a dropping waterfall inside it.
Yeah, exactly. So like airports are usually pretty unmemorable except for that one because it's like super awesome. It's like if there was some kind of awesome restaurant or awesome cafe, as opposed to like the cookie cutout shit that is in pretty much every airport, you could be the only memorable thing in an airport. Is that your puppy that's now not a puppy anymore? Because that sounded like a...
Yeah. She's 1 year old and she's already like a guard dog. It's I'm kind of...
That's because you got, what is it? A German Shepherd, right?
Rottweiler. But, you know, I got the smallest... the smallest Rottweiler in the group, you know, so she didn't really grow that much. So I don't know.
Okay.
She's like a miniature Rottweiler. Yeah.
All muscle, no fat. Nice.
Yeah. See, like
that's a good play. Airport.
I'll get mine.
Cute. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good dog. I love dogs.
Yeah. So I gotta show you that. I have a few here.
Oh, it's all happening. I wish I had one. I only have jealousy. That's all I have. There's nothing else left. It's just a gaping chasm wishing for a dog. What's this? Oh yeah, the dog chews. Nice.
Yeah. So there's a coffee wood, you know, safe for dogs to chew.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Yeah.
So that's like $10, I think, here in dog shops.
Yeah. So you know, it's been drying for a year and now it's ready to ship. So we're gonna start. I'm making a label.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any caffeine in a coffee wood?
No. And it doesn't splinter, so it's like hard enough to last for a bit and not hard enough to really fuck up their teeth, so they can like chew it. You know.
Wow, that's a good market. If you start that, like everyone's going to be selling dog chews. That needs to like hull old coffee, like, you know, because you know plants don't last forever. I mean, they can, but.
Well, like you
don't always.
I like it how you thought about yourself.
Like you prune them and they grow again.
Dude, like, you know, the original geisha, the original geisha plant is still there. It still exists. It's 100 years old.
In Costa Rica.
I've seen it. No, in Tanzania. The one that seeded all of American geisha.
From
the
Tanzania.
One that went to, yeah.
How are they sure about that?
It's logged and it's still there. It's a big tree, man. Like, it's huge. I'll send you pictures. Like, it is the one. It's weird though, because that research station is like, it's all like the paper trail is all just paper. So to really know,
Germany.
It's like Romania, like, you know. You have to like have someone that like can give you access to such a place, and I was lucky enough to meet someone that has access to it, and I was like, hey, you know, like I heard that there was like the geisha plant there. Do you want to check out if it is? And he's like, yeah, I mean, I could see it, talk to them. And then he went there and like had a chat to the researchers, and they're just like, oh yeah, that's it there. That one.
Was it
That's the geisha one.
were there like ripe cherries when you were there?
I wasn't there, but I got sent pictures when Neil was there.
Ah, okay.
And yeah, it's still fruits. They can still clone it, or make like successions from it if they want, like with everything else in that research station. So most of the work that they do there now focuses on F1 hybrids, because it's probably more of a pressing issue.
Take that Geisha,
not to say
with a Robusta and like
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's like
yeah, absolutely. A bit of a tangent from dogs, but yeah, it's interesting.
So, you know, this is getting really long. Is there a way to end this with some wise words or something?
I don't know. Put in some effort, do a good job. Thanks for the call.
What he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you need in life.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Thanks for
Bye.
Yeah, good chats, guys. Nice to chat to you again, Kresten.
Well, he left already, dude.
Oh, okay, bye. See you.
Yeah, see ya.